I'd like to discuss translations and when they're required. We've had a lot of individuals asking about, this is the most common one. This is the question that we've had a lot of people asking. The most common question is, I have a whole bunch of text messages. I have hundreds of pages of text messages. And my fiance or my spouse and I, we will send messages in French or in Spanish or in a language other than English. And it's a lot of messages. Do I have to translate all of those? And the short answer is anything that you are sending to USCIS, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS requires that any document not in English be accompanied by a translation. So if you have friends or family who write letters of support and those letters of support are not in English, and yes, if you have hundreds of pages of text messages and they're not in English, anything that is not in English does have to be translated, and it has to be accompanied by a translator certificate. And the other thing to think about is, yes, text messages are great, but if you have a lot of other evidence, if you have letters of support, if you have a financial account or something else that's joined, if you have enough other relationship evidence, then you might not need to use your text messages, and then you wouldn't have to have them translated. It'll really just be a matter of determining how much evidence is needed to prove your relationship. And then the answer to this question is any document that you really believe that will be needed to prove your relationship, if it's not in English, then it would have to be translated. But this is USCIS, and so there are other phases in the case, such as if you have a process for a spouse visa or a fiance visa, and there's a consular interview abroad, it's important to note that each of those embassies actually would accept a language other than English. So I will use the example of the U.S. embassies in Mexico. So if you have an interview in Ciudad Juarez or Mexico City, the languages that are accepted there, any documents that are in English or Spanish are fine, and you wouldn't actually have to have a translation. But it would be a matter of making sure you're checking with that U.S. embassy or consulate as to the languages that they accept and what the translation requirements are. But in general, for USCIS, that is the context in which this person was asking the question. And we get this question a lot in our Facebook group, so I wanted to provide some clarity. If you are filing something with USCIS, yes, anything not in English has to have a translation.